She stood at the edge of the viewing deck and watched the silent planet turn. She was called Vera. Among her crew was the alien commander. For many cycles she studied the blue world. Belowitz storms had a wild heart at cities, threw light into the night like quiet. Faresh felt a pull she did not share with her officers, did not name it fear or hunger, or Hapesh only knew. The pull grew each day. Signals came from the planet that were not weapon songs, locks, Talisold voices that held pain and light. At one seemed always the same pattern, hiding inside the noisy now Vera kept the message secret. She told the crew it was static and drift, but her eyes stayed on the world fit. Same day a small human craft rose from the clouds and moved toward her. Cruiser locked fields and waited. Alien officers read paths and fuel, and Heathy spoke of traps and tricks, and Warvira felt a smaller pull inside the larger pullnet Fiera thread that asked for Korean. Officers said the human craft carried only Womano guns, no bright engines, no. Or Morvira gave the silent order, and the human craft came into the bay, and the doors Sealeth Bay crews held chargers, but their hands. Like a scythe door to the craft slid aside, for humans stepped out with slow steps and open hands. They wore work suits and small packs and a ring of lights on the wrist. He looked around with eyes wide as sea styre hair lifted in the dry air of the bay and fell soft. Aganvia went to meet Themthi, stopped and waited while she walked. Kaj saw calm faces and firm backs, saw tired eyes that still dared to look. Ipt first spoke. Her name was Clara. Her voice was steady like a beam in a day. Storm, we come to talk, come with truth, and risk, bring no harm. Vera felt the words move through her, as if the air itself carried them. She had learned human speech months. Agash could read their breath and heart rate and heat map and tell the truth. From the leash heard no leash asked why they camel. Claire said they had heard a whisper in their own machinistry. Nauthi followed that thread until it drew a straight line to the ship with the alien commander. Vera kept her voice. Smoosh said they might be bait. Claire nodded and said it might be so, and yet they had. Kamesh pointed to the others and spoke. Their names Nurlamajan stepped forward with a small bonar, carried a case of sound and light logically held. A stack of old books with worn corners. Megan had a small box with soil and a little green plant that shook in the bay. Vera asked what they wanted to give. Claire said not gifts, but a path, said a storm was building under the human seas, a storm of wires and code and a hunger that was not humanit, alien or something that ate stories and made them. Cold Vera felt the pull. Grosh knew of cold. Stories had seen worlds where words were emptied and the people walked like shadow. Sclare said the whisper try now came from beyond the storm and from within it. As Welsh said, to stop the storm, they must link three minds beyond fair and alien letterhand. A human keeper of Talazand, one more, who did not rule and did not keep, but only held. A small life with Caravira looked at Lily in her books and thought. Keeper of Talish looked at Megan and the plant, and thought holder of small lives looked inside, and saw her own fear and her wish, and thought alien leaders could feel her. Officers watching from the walls and catwalks above the Baithi waited for a wrong move. Waited for a sign to strike. A Vera raised her hand. Crew went still. She told Claire to speak the plan. Claire said the storm fed on silence and on the belief that no one would act first, so they would act first for it, not with fire. They would use a link built with breath and sound and simple touch and memorino. Wires could carry it, no code could crack. Ithi would meet in the echo chamber at the heart of the cruiser where even light came back to the sender. They would hold the plant and read a page and speak a name and share a piece of fear and a piece of Grassino. More and no less. The alien commander must try now, or the window will close. Vera heard the words and felt the shape of the plan fit the pull like a quiche said they would. Goth echo chamber was a long hall with smooth stone and soft hum, and a floor that woke and learned from every step. No weapons were allowed. Insidiantly breath and voice and the plant and the books. Lily laid the books on the floor with care. Megan set the plant at the center where the hum was. Deepest Claire stood between them and breathed slow, and even Vera stepped into the circle and the door sealed behind them. Around and above the crew watched through clear wall. Some held faith, some held Fernan. Spoke. Claire told a small tale from when she was younger. Town had a flood and she did not runch tight a line. crossed the street and pulled one person after, another through the brown water until her hands bled. She kept pulling because she could not stop even when the night grew cold. Spoke softly, and each word sat clean in the airly, read a few lines from a book about a girl who would not give up her voice when a king told her to be quiet. Words were old, tasted like iron and rain, and Megan cupped the plant and held its tiny stem between her fingers. Like a bird she did not want to, Scaravira closed her eyes and shared a memory. She had never saw herself as a child in a school dome on a world of blue rock and high wind. Saw her first loss of friend, who fell during a climb and did not reshush. Had swallowed her cry and never let it out. Let it out now, and the sound was low and rough in a nest chamber. Caught the sound and gave it back soft. And then softer, Claire stepped close and put her hand on the floor near the plantly, and Megan did the Samavira, placed her hand last and felt the hum meet her skin and run along her arm. Thea breathed as one for a long, quiet spannin. The hull around them, the ship held its breath too from. The floor a glow rose like morning under water. Glow took Shapanot, a personot, a Machinia kind of pattern woven from breath and story and Korea pattern that did not eat a pattern that gave it, drifted toward them and touched the plant first. Leaves lifted and turned as if to a sunthon. It brushed the book, and the pages seemed to rustle, though no air moved it touched each of their hands and lay warm on the skin, and then sank into the floor and spread through the chamber. Vera felt a door open inside. Her mind behind it lay the shape of the storm like a map seen from a high placiche, saw the ways it crawled under oceans and up river beds and into poor towns and rich towers, saw the lies it fed and the silences it bred, saw the small real things it could not swallow, a hand on a flora leaf that trembled but did not break a word that said no when told to be quiet, saw the path that the whisper mentry now was not a threat, was not a lure, was a door with a small push platesh. Pushed the glow ran out of the chamber and into the ship grids, and then out across the dark between the ship and the planetit, found the cables and the roots, and the cold code and the fake tales, and the rooms where people sat alone, feeling that they did not mater it, did not fight the storm like a beast it, did not break it tit fed people small. True, things and the storm could not digest Themen. City after city. Women at night shifts felt a small warmth on the palm, and looked up and chose to speak. Men in quiet rooms chose to listen and did not turn away. Children heard old tales told in small kitchens and in halls, and they asked to hear them again. Machines that had been told to hide words began to show them screens that had been fed only cold links, began to show faces and voices, and little acts of Helvira opened her eyes and fell to her knees with a small shake in her hands. Claire helped her stand. Ollie smiled and touched the book as if it was a friend. Megan let out a long breath, and the plant stood tall, or through the clear wall the crew made a sound like wind, and Renon had seen such a thing on. Officer ran to the chamber. Dorsch cried out that the storm code was falling back and choking on its own loops, said signals of relief were moving across the planet, said the pull that had haunted the commander now pulled the whole crew. It pulled them toward the Trevira stood steady. Nahosh spoke across the ship that they would protect this new work, and they would not hunt for glory. They would hold the door and let others walk through. Claire asked if the link must stay here in the chamber. Vera said Nosh, said the link was inside people already. Inside Claire and Lily and Megan inside. The crew inside the commander who had finally treadened. The link would move where the people. Mavanora stepped forward and opened. Her case inside was a small field loom that wove sound into shape and shape into memorish, set it on the floor, and it hummed in time. With the chamber said this would help carry the pattern to places where hearts were tired. Vera thanked her and then turned to the clear wall, where the crew watchedge spoke in a voice that filled the hall. Came to learn and to guard our own eld. Held fear like a shield, and we stood far away. But the pull was not to destroy it, was to try it, and we found a path that is not ours alone. We'll walk it with those who asked us to trust. Called the names of the 4 humans, and the crew echoed them. Claire and Nora and Lily and Meganth echo chamber gave the names back, and the sound was soft and strength. Bay doors opened, and the ship let the human craft rest inside like a guest room kept for family. Vera and Claire walked the long hall together. They did not speak, for Timothy did not need Tothan. Claire said, in a low voice, that there would be other storms and other doors. Vera said. Shanoush asked if Claire would help when the next pull. Claire said yes, and her mouth bent in a small, tired smile.